So hi everyone, in this video we are going to continue our Italian series and we are going to see about the games of Hans Niemann. He also plays our favorite opening and he does it in real style. So we are going to start with today's video. So he plays e4. That's how the game starts. His opponent is Jens Krzysztof Duda from Poland. He's a really strong player. He also defeated Gukesh. So the game starts with e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6. This is the standard moves. Bishop c4. Now we are entering the Italian opening. Then he plays bishop c5. You know this line. We also covered this line on my channel. So please go check it out. Then this move is played. You can also play this move to solidify your center like this. Then he also goes like this. You can also play this move, then castle, but it is also okay to play this move as well. Then he goes c3 because it is not important to castle on another move, so we can do it later as well. He plays c3. Okay, so because the opponent didn't want it to come in a tempo, because he knows that we are going to play the d4 move, so he gets his bishop back already. So okay, our game will continue. We castle it out. We are not afraid of this pin because this is not a big threat. Now he plays this move, queen f6, not knight f6 but queen f6. Why? Because later he want to pin our knight and they want to create more pressure on it, so we can we have to compromise with our pawn structure and it will not be good. So he just developed, he is not afraid of this pin because we are going to play this move, knight b to d2, to defend and solidify this knight, and we are offering an exchange of the pieces. So he also develops his knight on this square. He is getting developed, and we are also playing our own idea. We are going to play this move, knight b to d2, and here Hans Niemann is perfect with his piece coordination. Black is also perfect, slightly behind in development, but it's okay. He's going to catch up. You can see his pieces are good, controlling the squares in the center. We are going to strike in the center when we get the right movement. Here h6 will be played so that this move doesn't come in future. Yen plays this move, so the bishop could not come here and attack the queen. Okay, now like this position, you can see we are taking squares in queen side. We are attacking on the queen side because we are not exposing our king side. We'll be attacking on the queen side as we are getting space. So what is so now Duda goes for g5 for counter attack on the king side like this, but we are going to continue with our own plan, a4. Now this is going to be really catastrophic for black because we are going to take so much space on the queen side. So he goes g4. He is like, if you look at this, this is not good for black. You can see he's overextended. If our knight will for sure move to this square, but you can see he's this his pawn structure is also not intact. Queen is also misplaced on this square. So we play our knight to e1 square. Now what, he goes knight d8. Duda thinks we are going to get a tempo by moving his knight from this square, but like now we are these are little inaccuracies at that level. So what we get is knight d8. We just forces the exchange of the bishop because the bishop is completely trapped here. So we are forcing the exchange of the bishops. He goes here. We for sure take with the pawn. That's what we can do. So now this structure is not bad for us. For the white pieces, I'm trying to tell you, this structure is not bad because we know our pawns are doubled, but we are aiming for this push, this d4 push, and it is going to be really good for us. as we'll be controlling the center. So yeah, this was played. He plays queen g5. Queen g5, it is a really easy threat to look. We can defend this, we have to defend this pawn. We can either do it with the knight, or we can either do it with the queen. We want as we want, but it will be good to go with the queen, as it will defend the bishop later, so we can push the d5 pawn. So now Duda goes for this move. He's clearly focusing on this king side attack. So when your opponent starts to play on the king side, you have to do this one thing. You need to play or strike in the center. That's what Hans Niemann do. He strikes in the center like this. You cannot take this for sure, because first of all, this rook's file is also open. This pawn is soft. And if you are going to take this, we are going to be really happy. We are going to take with this pawn. Our structure is totally good. We are going to play this move, and then black will be in a total catastrophe. So he plays h4. He just wants to continue his attack on the king side. So what we'll do? We'll bring our knight. The knight is not placed here correctly on the even square. Now it is good. It will be attacking this pawn in the future, and we might get this move that will be really good for us, and will be attacking this pawn will be really soft. I know our pawns will not be good, but firstly we are attacking the black pieces. So now he also castles. He sees that remaining in the center is not a good option, and the pressure on this pawn is also increasing. So he castles it out. So now just a waiting move, a kind of waiting move, trying to take in the center, and then to create more pressure, and also not coming in any these type of moves, so that our bishop gets blocked. So he just gets back. Now this is an important move, king g7, because getting out of the pin, being in this pin is really dangerous. So he gets out of the pin. Pawn takes this pawn. Like we are simplifying a bit in the center, so our opportunities get better in the long term for attacking. Like this. Now you can see this pawn is not good placed here. We can be easily attacking it. How will we do it? We are just going to see, first of all, rook to d1. So everything will be defended in the center. Everything is defended. Now we are giving fresh threats to bring our knight and to capture this pawn on the spot. So now knight comes to this square. Knight comes to g6 to defend the pawn. But like now we are really getting somewhere, because we have a really serious threat in black's position, and black's king is also not safe. You can see these pawns are here. This is not good. Now Duda plays b5, taking more space on the queen side. You can see, taking more space, we are threatening moves like this, and then playing rook a1. You can also see black's knight cannot come to these squares, and he cannot also play any lazy moves. But so he thought that his queen is not placed here, so he plays his queen to e7. But from now onwards, the best moves, the brilliant moves start from the side of GM Hans Niemann. The first brilliant move, rook f5. This is brilliant. Why? Because I'll show you the line. These same lines will be there for the next 2 to 3 brilliant moves. If he takes a rook, we'll take with the pawn for sure. He needs to move his knight, and his knight has only 2 squares. If he comes to this square, we are going to take it. So he goes to this square. Now we are going to take his pawn with check. We are going to take his pawn with the check. Now the king has only 3 moves, 1, 2, and 3. If he comes here, it is a mate in 1. Like if he comes here, this is mate in 1. This knight to this e4 square is mate in 1. So he cannot come to this square. What if he goes to this square? Then what we are going to do is we are going to play knight e4. This is a really slow move, but it does a lot of things. Like you can see in this position, black is going to attack us only. That is only his final move, or either he needs to give his knight and we'll be really happy because we'll be having two pieces for a rook. So if he attacks our queen, so we can play this move, queen h5 check. Now he has only one move, that is to go here, and this will be a fork and its queen will be lost. So that's how the move is so brilliant, the rook f5 move. So okay, Duda of course is not going to take it. Duda is going to generate his own counterplay on the king side. But now comes another brilliant move, sacrificing the rook on the same spot. Same idea will be there. If he's going to take with the bishop, we are going to take with the pawn and entering with our queen on this square. So same idea will be there. So now he cannot take, we saw it. Now he plays this move, but now it is getting really out of hand. He plays queen h5. Like there is idea, this is showing as inaccuracy, but you can see like his position is completely in shocks because his knight is the only piece defending everything. So when we are going to take this pawn, everything is going to fall. So yeah, we'll continue. So he plays this move f6. This was the best move. This was the last and final move which could save Duda from the catastrophe. So now he plays this move, again sacrificing the rook on the same square. The idea will be same. We will be coming here. Now you can see the bishop is controlling the diagonal. So king cannot go backwards. These are the only squares and he'll be completely losing there. Now we take it back. Now we play rook f3. This move is also brilliant, sacrificing the rook again, and we are threatening the pawn as well. He cannot take the rook now also, so he goes to knight e6, and now it is completely over because we are taking this pawn, and now you can see he is in total absolute destruction here because there are pressure from many sides on his king. So what he can do is he can block this attack on his king by playing knight g5. But that is what we want. We want to sacrifice another rook on the same square like this, because now when he takes, we'll take with the rook and this knight will be really weak on this square. You can see this knight is really weak and pinned on the square. So we'll be going further in the line. He goes rook to this square to defend the knight. Now here Hans Niemann plays this move, knight to e5, attacking the pawn, and now you can see there is total pressure on this knight, and if we win, the knight will be having two pieces for a rook and more than 3 pawns related to our opponent. So we'll be completely winning in the game. So he plays his queen to this square to defend the knight. But what we are going to do is we are going to increase the pressure. Now you can see this move is totally curtains for black. Now he cannot take with the queen, as we are going to take with the knight, and his queen will be gone. And if he takes with the rook, now you're going to be commenting under this video how it will be going to be mate in 4. Okay, please do comment. Okay, so what was played in the game was queen h8, trying to exchange the queens. But why will we trying to exchange the queens when we can just win the knight and we can win the game? So now we are threatening the rook, so the rook will exchange like this. Now he's completely shattered, only one move to go. He goes to h6 move. Now the game is really easy for us. He goes h6, the bishop is defended. The only move is to go to king g7. And now you, like in chess, you always not need to play like firework moves or the moves let you win on the spot. You also need to play slow moves. So in this position, Hans Niemann plays this slow move like this. This queen e7 has many threats in the position. Like if you play any of the any move like this, there is just a mate in 5, or you are just winning the queen. Like in this position, he has only just 2 moves. If he goes to this square, then there is mate in 1, and if he goes to this square, then we'll might win his queen like this, or we are going to this square, and there will be checkmate in some other way. So that's how you also create prophylaxis thinking and also strategic thinking games like this. So we are also going to see a game with black pieces also. Please do comment down if you want more games of Hans Liemans, because he played really brilliant games in this Super Rapid and Blitz. So please do comment, and please do comment what are types of videos you want in future. So okay, thank you.